Welcome back, friends, to Occultists Anonymous, sponsored by Roll20, The Onyx Path, and viewers like you. Thank you very much to all our good friends out there who are supporting us, hanging out with us, and just being rad people. Like, it's statistically proven, people who watch and support our show are cooler people. Like, talk to me, come by Discord.
Then they would be otherwise.
Right, that's correct. Trust me, liking Occultists Anonymous does not make you cool in any fashion. But yeah, come by Discord, eatinto.space. If you don't believe me, I have all the stuff written up. I can show you. A special shout out to all our patrons who support us. 8 more years of heisting. Adele, Al and Michael, Alexander, Angfalith, Bernie, Blood Angel, Brandon, Buck, Chris, Daniel, Doc the Undead, Delore, Emil, Funzosuru Ali, George, Jack, Jenny, John, Josh, Julian, Cash Feathers, Crazy Man 1772, Melissa, Menacing the Sky, an exclamation point, Michael, Milo V3, Ms. Grumpy, Moku, Noba, Other Michael, Parker, Perry, Puppeteer, Riafio, Ryan, Shiksara, Cinna, Taryn, The Arcane, Thomas, Theer, Sus, Please Vent, Toast, Usuf Sama, Vortex, Woodsound, and Zoltan. Thank you all very much for your support. I appreciate it. They do too. When we last left the gang, the Witch Coven.
Not really much important happened last time, right?
No.
Yeah,
not at all.
Very quiet.
I was kind of zoned out the whole session, so it would probably be fine.
It's trivial.
It's fine. I'll recap you real quick here. They saw the Astrovoidal. They realized that it wasn't actually alive in the living, breathing sense, but it has a mind. It has a myriad of destinies. It also contains absolutely no heat and motion. And that sent the Royal Society into a tizzy as they were trying to figure things out. Meanwhile, Rilla made a little seeing potion that when, Isabel tried it, she had, super telescopic sight and had this weird other little flex muscle that she kind of intuits would allow her to open her mage sight, but she can already do that. Meanwhile, Rilla is in the middle of her awakening and is currently seeing angels and is speaking in, high speech and running around at really fast speeds until suddenly she had a really bad tummy ache. And so she's in a place. And in all of that, they also realize that the Astrovoidal Heartache, as the big wolf following Isabel called it, is somehow affecting Purgatory Bluff. And then with a moment of clarity, Legba realizes, hang on, that's right there beneath our feet happening right now. And Legba and Petrichor took off at a run, sliding down the ridge side, and Theodosia watching with wide, crazy kind of eyes, watching as Rilla is having a really bad day, minute here, while awakening, and Gisela is, basically got an exceptional success and said, no, be better, and rolled over and she vomited. And that's where those two were left. So we pick up after having some out of character discussion about it with Legba and Petrichor, who in the couple moments of running down the hill kind of embody their shadow names more fully. And based on their dots in shadow name is basically how unrecognizable they are. So Legba is a very different person from Cloak / Jean-Paul. Petrichor is, a sidestep, a cousin of... You have two? Oh, okay, cool. Yes, so a distant cousin instead of a cousin to Isabel. And the two of them were heading into the mines when Marina looks up and says, hang on, what's going on here? Who are you and what are you doing here? She isn't armed in any way other than the big pickaxe and then a bunch of miners who are also starting to stop and turn and looking. And in the immediate area, the sounds of mining has kind of slowed because it is the middle of the night. Their shift has started, and generally speaking, it goes on with only minor conversation as people, generally speaking, these guys are just beating the shit out of the earth and prying up silver. If Marina speaks, everybody turns and listens, and so the two of you have about 6 pairs of eyes, plus Marina's, watching you, and nobody is anticipating trouble because, I mean, what's there to do in here? But there have been people who've attempted to steal silver out of the mine before, which, generally speaking, the miners have a problem with. Yeah.
So, we approach Legba, as in his guise, and looks Marina in the eyes, and then looks around at all the miners, and begins inflating his chest, and in a thunderous, booming voice, yells, "Everyone out of the mine now!" Time to roll some intimidation.
Yeah, I think that's pretty appropriate.
The commanding presence would definitely apply there.
Fantastic. Let's get that.
Mike says say please.
What was that?
Mike says say please.
Oh, gotcha.
don't think we're in the time frame for such pleasantries.
You got present intimidation. Great. It's a root.
Yes, this is particularly rude. That's why he's rolling intimidation. Oh, and actually, while Ralph is rolling that up, we have new stuff in the store. Don't order anything until Saturday, because the sale is happening starting Saturday. So, yeah.
Oh, there we go.
8
Give
successes.
me that condition and 8 successes.
Good lord. Yeah.
Yes.
Only 110. When you're rolling road, it really doesn't matter quite as much. But yeah, I meant to give you some negatives, but not like it's really going to matter in this particular case. Plenty of dice. Yeah, there's definitely a shift, and I mean, it comes down to the intimidation is there, but it's the sheer command and it's the mine, and we've already had one collapse recently. It was a couple weeks back at this point now, but it's still recent enough memory. And there's definitely a look from you to Marina, back to you, and then this half glance over at the collapse, which is not far from here. And the miners drop picks and shovels and start hauling ass out towards the past you both. Marina, she kind of shifts gears, not worried about what you two are doing, but kind of running back deeper into the cave and basically calling for, all right, everybody out. And while the first couple miners were definitely in that sudden panic bolt and run, the rest are very confused. What's going on? Marina's saying to get out. All right, we're going to start getting out. What was that noise? Who is shouting? Kind of conversation. Marina's, snapping her fingers. Come on, hollering at them in French. And which for them, they know some French, and it's basically a variety of curse words. Stop what you're doing. Come over here. Get out. Things of that nature. And it starts moving them along. She's still watching the both of you. Because, the collapse hasn't happened. There's no big explosion sound. But, all right, fine. We're going to see what's going on. And is definitely eyeing up Legba with that whole, don't I know you kind of expression. But we are talking about dim lamplight within the mines at night. And then obviously Legba in a alternative guise, though not necessarily different clothes, which is kind of the wiggly there.
Okay.
That's why we got to get superhero costumes here in a little bit.
Exactly. Oh, it's going to happen.
Or, glasses.
Maybe a hat.
I said what I said.
I think Leg would be a little surprised that Marina is kind of casually taking that exhortation.
Casual is probably
I
a
didn't
bit.
even have to pull out my guns.
Yeah, casual is a bit of an understatement. She is like in a hurry, but she's not leaving until she's getting everybody out.
Gotcha.
There's definitely a alacrity to her motion and her comments, but she's not leaving any of her guys behind.
Okay. Then let's see. How many passages are there that they are going down?
Basically, they're funneling in from basically 4 or 5 of them. 4 or 5 main tunnels.
Okay, gotcha. Cool. So then, as soon as there's a break and there isn't anyone standing in front of us, Legba reaches out a hand and places it on Petrichor's shoulder. And it's going to cast Incognito Presence.
Okay.
Oh, that's why I can't see it. My window's too big.
But yeah, because Chad is bringing it up, if you want to understand how Shadow Name is working in this case, go watch Christopher Reeve's performance of Clark Kent and Superman, and the sheer difference in stance and personality and the way he holds himself. That is Shadow Name in a nutshell. Add in a little bit of your nimbus and other things like that, kind of overshadowing. That's kind of what you're looking at. And as we have mentioned before, Ralph, remember, you don't have to take a penalty for potency on Incognito Presence.
Yes, indeed. All right, it's the 2 of us.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I think I'm just going to take the penalty. No extra reach. Let's do duration instant cast. So I need 2 reach, and I have 2 reach. Increase potency by...
Don't need to do potency at all.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, I meant scale. Bonus from Yantras. Umi Maya Son. And then Shadow Name and Cabal Theme.
Yep.
Cool. So that should be 8 dice.
Cool. 5. Yep. Don't forget to spend a mana.
I will not.
And especially because you do have a moment right at the start, in fact, where because Marina kind of looks at you all and heads back deeper into the mine while the men who are there at the front start streaming out.
Okay.
So this would be very, very soon after people start to clear out.
Okay, cool. And how you described it when you said there were multiple passages, I think I can elaborate in my mind to appreciate what you're saying a little differently now. The reason why I was describing Marina's response as casual is if she was staying around and keeping her eyes on us, that would seem really weird to Legba, right? If
she's going down.
She's farther. So confused, but she's leaving. He's like, okay, well, I'm not watching it right now. So, okay, let's roll those 8 dice. I got 1 success, all I need. Fantastic. Spend a mana. And cool, we're cloaked.
Yep.
And Legba says to Petrichor,
who cannot perceive you.
"Oh, that's right."
I mean, there's some physical stuff to it. Where, like,
but you can draw attention to people, right? So they can see through it.
For me, it's basically going to be kind of a... I don't know how to properly do that. Because generally speaking, when we've done incognito presence, because we're invisible to everybody. But, in this particular case, you may have to physically push Petrichor in that direction to give a, oh yeah, well, I'm going to head over this way kind of thing. Or I don't know if, Chris, you have any suggestions for how they should.
The last time I turned on telepathy, which I forgot to do this time. But I think Legba, if this works for you, could just grab Petrichor by his shoulders, or no, keep his hand on Petrichor's shoulder. Yeah, as he casts the spell. And then push her towards the collapse.
Yep.
Cool.
But
so I want to cast another spell once we get to the collapse.
Sure. And the collapse is that mine number 1, or I can't remember the exact number I gave it, but it is near the front.
3.
Okay.
It's the mine shaft number.
So it is not far from the front. The main shaft being 1, 2 was off to the left, and 3 ends up being over to the right. And it's a short jaunt down to find the collapse, and where the pile of rocks still remains, and there's the sawhorses there set up to kind of barricade and like, hey, we don't go in this area.
Fantastic. So, if I remember correctly, we stated that we were leaving a gap for air.
Mm-hmm.
Great, which means that there is some space between the rocks and the space behind.
Correct.
Excellent. So, Legba and Petrichor approach, and Legba focuses on the rocks, and using his newfound appreciation for how the space arcanum is a representation of connection in its raw sense, that the physical limits are just abstractions. They're not really present. He focuses his mind on the gap, the space that's present between the rocks, and is going to cast an improvised spell. He is going to rule that that space will permit the two of them to pass beyond it to reach Sanity.
So break boundary.
Yes, exactly.
Yep. All right. While Ralph is putting that together real quick, any input there, Chris, on what Petrichor may be? Okay. So we cut up top to Rilla, who at this point is now unconscious, kind of asleep. Gisela, you're kind of leaned over her. You're right there. She's breathing. And with your mage sight on, I believe both of you still have your mage sight on. She's still kind of surrounded by this glowy gold and red nimbus of almost physical mana, the lustrum that you guys have no idea what that is, but for mechanical purposes. And I believe Jules and Mortimer had been catching up, and we're kind of surprised at how fast Gisela was. And I believe, in fact, Theo was a little bit surprised at how fast she was. But yeah, so that's where we're at now.
Theo's just observing the process still.
Okay.
I'm just, I guess, trying to take care of her and instruct Jules and Mortimer as to, like, I'm just sort of explaining what's happening roughly.
Right. Yeah, you
Yeah,
have to couch
I
it in the kind of like mental health kind of language because that's right, because this is what your parents had to do for you. Right. But yeah.
She needs to be watched over, taken care of. She'll talk to things that aren't there. You should just try to keep her safe and away from other people until this is over. And it will eventually be over.
Jules kind of looks at you a little bit baffled and confused. And
This happened to me. It will eventually be over. You just need to take care of her until then.
How long did it affect you?
A few weeks.
Like, Jules sits back kind of flabbergasted. Mortimer looks more annoyed and nods and says, well, this is... Can't you two, the four of you, take care of her?
Sure.
Just really, yes, give her to us.
Yeah, you know what you're doing.
Put her up on the examination table.
She might be better suited to it because she won't recognize you while this is going on anyway. If you would be okay with that. Turn to Theo, where are we gonna put her?
I have a cart outside of town.
Yeah, like she can't come home with me.
No, she can come stay with us.
Okay. If Catherine will be okay with that.
I have a little pole. We'll probably be okay.
Yeah. Jules is like nodding because at this point he's down like kneeling beside Rilla and like looking over and kind of like he pulls out like his handkerchief and kind of wipes her mouth and is kind of looking. She's fine for now though.
For now. Physically, she's fine.
What about, just kind of looks over at Theo and says, so you're familiar with this?
My experience going through this was quite different, but I'm familiar with the process.
What was yours like? If it was different.
Can I get like a how is he doing sort of role? What's his mental state like? Is he like on the edge of freaking out or?
I think that's going to be a wits plus empathy.
Sure. Wits and empathy, not one of my best. That's all right. Hey.
Yeah, he's on the raggedy edge, and he's seen a lot of stuff today. Jules has gone from science is real. Mortimer has told me about weird magic stuff that might be science, but now I'm seeing some other stuff here that's real weird.
So Theo would just put a hand on his shoulder. You've already got a lot to process. Maybe that's a conversation for another time.
And like he kind of looks at you, because especially compared to the Theo he's used to seeing, the waitress, and like this more not necessarily commanding, but like you're out of your league kid kind of vibe, and he kind of like looks from you and then looks over to Gisela and like, okay, I have to trust you on this, and like. I'll be honest, like, kind of looks a little bit guilty at Gisela and says, she's my only friend, like, that I have out here, so, like, I would be very upset if something happens to her while she is in your care.
We'll take care of her.
We're probably in the best position to take care of her.
Yeah, I know. And like Mortimer like makes a like little bit of a, you know, tisking sound and like, all right, Jules. I think he flat out says the witches have her now. And there's this
Jules, the time for feelings has passed. We must return to our duties as men of science.
pretty accurate. Yeah. Mortimer, you know, is, you know, like at this point we need to make a couple more observations and then we will see if we can get the model that, well, Isabel suggested to us actually mapped out. We have things to do while we have the chance. Rilla is okay. She's breathing and the ladies have her. Jules like takes a minute and like gives Mortimer this very, do you have no feelings, man? But also Mortimer is deep in call me Ishmael, I'm hunting my fucking white whale right now mode. And Jules recognizes it and goes, okay, yeah, you're right, sir. And like he tries to gruff up a little bit and walks with Mortimer back over to the little camp, little observatory space there. Do you two try and like carry Rilla down to the wagon?
Yeah.
I'm curious what that sound was there, Craig.
I'm thinking I'm just going to do a little lodestone to make her a little lighter and easier to maneuver.
That would
Do
matter.
the
Doesn't work on
reverse?
living people.
Yep.
No.
Oh, that just matter. Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
matter is matter. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Cool.
Okay, yeah, but
I was going to go ahead and put like a long duration exceptional luck on her with the charmed condition to try to like stop her from
Accidentally
maybe
walking
hopefully
into a wood chipper.
accidentally. Yeah.
Okay. And I think while you write that up, we'll jump over. Maybe that's what we'll do. Just every time somebody casts a spell, we'll jump back and forth. I need to roll a bunch of paradox here. Well, not a bunch, because you're going to use your Asone.
Actually, you don't roll any, because I didn't trigger paradox before, and I used my Asone, so
But I mean,
it's a paradox chance die.
right, so roll a die.
Yeah, but you said a bunch of paradox.
Right. Yeah. I realize you would have
Oh, that's
your
right. I
Asone.
shouldn't say none.
Yeah.
But one chance die.
Nope. Cool. So
Awesome.
yeah, go ahead and roll. And yes, as Milo commented in YouTube, hey, right, mana per turn is a thing. We haven't called it out because it hasn't mattered too much, but yeah, whoops.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We've got Gnosis. So
Yeah.
Gnosis 2. So Gnosis for 2 mana per turn right now. Great.
See, is it a reach to switch the primary factor from potency to duration?
Correct.
So I can afford that. Cool.
2 successes.
Yeah.
As,
Also, Drew, before when I got that exceptional success on my intimidation roll,
oh, yes.
I think that condition is like empowered to save her or something like that.
Yeah.
Even if it's not directly related to the roll, considering that's my motivation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I did
Wonderful. Excellent.
that. In this particular case, I think especially for Petrichor, you have the little tingle of, oh, magic is happening. And then you are just on the other side of the rocks, which you can only tell because the lights that used to be kind of next to you and behind you, now there is one single flickering little lamp down, and it looks like Sanity has basically set up a little camp kind of space for herself up against the far wall, as far from the collapse as she could be. So yeah, you two had that sun lurch through, and the oil lamp at the end of the way, which is, trying to math it out, 50 feet away. So it's a little bit of a walk, but it's not very far. You can see not quite a, well, yeah, it's basically mat on the ground. It's not even like a bedroll. And a bag of things. Looks like some like small like hand instruments and other potential tools of. She's probably been singing to herself or making some music, and just kind of quiet, just something to pass time. And then Sanity, who's looking a little rough for wear. It's been at this point 4 days, I believe. And let me see here. Can't remember if I put something on Conka. If anybody happens to remember.
4 days sounds about right.
I feel like it was about the same time that you guys got into the Hallow.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so she's been down 4 days. She's not bad. 5 days. It's the night of the 18th. But, yeah, she looks like she hasn't eaten in a little bit. She's not like suddenly gaunt. And hasn't had any water. But she's currently lying on her side, and the lamp is kind of flickering over what appears to be her features as she sleeps.
She's sleeping.
She appears to be sleeping.
Well, fantastic. Go ahead, Chris.
I've got my life sight on.
Ah, yes. That is a very good one to have here. I definitely know, obviously, you will be able to see her health bar, so to speak. I'm trying to remember what other things you can see with life. How injured they are, presence of toxins, disease, and personal tilts. Ah, yes. Perfect. So, and also because of your body control, you can feel this little bit of a toxin kind of working its way into your system from the from the drink.
Starting to.
But she doesn't appear to have any toxins and no diseases, but personal tilts. I'm going to take a little bit of a stretch here and just kind of describe more as her body is not in balance. Something is going wrong. And health-wise, it looks like she's sleeping off what appears to be... we'll use mechanical terms. But maybe 3 or 4 pieces, boxes of lethal damage.
Whoa.
And that's that initial, you guys step through, have that moment of, especially for Petrichor, the bit of, wobbliness, I guess. And then, yeah, you can see that.
I realized I forgot to describe the imago.
Oh, yeah.
I'll do so when we exit. Because I'm pretty sure you assumed I do the same thing. All right, so she's asleep. Yeah, I don't know anything about what Petrichor just learned. So Legba would also scrutinize her, not lowercase s scrutinize her with Mage Sight.
Of note, are you keeping incognito presence up?
For the next few seconds, yes.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, you want to give me like scrutinize in what way?
Oh, I just mentioned in the...
Bless you.
Thank you.
Always wait for that second one. Yeah, more of a like checking her health or like seeing what she's been up to. Like, how are you looking her over?
So the first thing he's doing is just checking what her mental state is. So, confirming that she's asleep or if she's comatose, that kind of thing. The
Gotcha.
Standard things you would learn with mind sight.
Right.
I'm also seeing, like, in Legba's mind, right? you know how space sight allows you to detect spatial distortions and irises and things like that. He's looking for chains, artificial chains. So when he learned that Heartache's connected to her, he thought that, hey, there might be some evidence of that. There might be something connecting the two of them here.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So he's looking for that.
Space doesn't reveal anything. Mine does reveal she's not sleeping. She's comatose. She's knocked out.
Oh, she's in a coma. Okay. Great. That's helpful.
And Chris has written up a body control with 3 reach, which I can guess what that reach is going to be for. But go ahead and tell everybody.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be instant. Oh, wait. I need another one.
Okay.
Because I have a spell up already.
Oh, right.
Instant duration, lethal damage, and then control. Spell control. So 3 dice of paradox.
Okay. What yantras are you using?
I am using my shadow name in the Cabal under the guise of a priestess, like healing someone of the flock, which also fits with the Cabal. And then my it should have only been 4. +1 is a rod for my dedicated magical tool. It's actually only 1 dice of paradox.
Okay.
A full regular die.
Ba-dow! Got a 2.
Nope. And yeah, it's like I think seeing the instruments and then seeing her unconscious, it's like Petrichor just starts, like pulls out her flute and just starts playing as she like walks over to the space and then like literally lays on hands. It's like, I need to empower you to heal yourself.
How to get incognito presence up. That's awesome. Suddenly flute music is not heard.
Flute music. Well, and see, that's the thing. I feel like in your particular case for Legba, music just comes out of nowhere. Where else could this come from? There's nobody else here, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, am I in a movie? Do I have a background track?
It sounds like Isabel's music. So I think I got 6 die. Got that right?
5. Well, no, that's 4.
Yep.
So yeah, 5 dice.
6 dice.
As you mentioned, the yantra bonus should be 4.
Oh, I misheard him.
Sorry.
Them.
Oh!
Nope.
Damn.
Chris and their dice.
I'm going to try it again.
Okay.
With a bit more of a shift in tone to the music and more rapid.
Okay,
and
I'm going to roll 2 paradox
desperate.
Unless you...
Yep,
okay.
that's fine.
Oh, damn.
Wow.
Now you get it.
Nope.
It's okay.
Only
Hell
me.
yeah.
All right, so then, 5 dice. I know you don't
4.
even have any willpower, too. Or do you have 1? No.
I have 1 willpower
Gotcha.
and 1 mana. And 2 successes.
As Craig was mentioning.
Excellently put.
Yeah. The important thing, as Craig was mentioning, we're never going back to the Hallow. I'm like, no. People running out of mana. We going back to the Hallow soon. Don't you?
I've been out of mana for days.
Oh shit. The
Gotta be scouring.
lethal
Strength through adversity.
The lethal reach is 2 reach.
Oh, thank you.
Can I have
I'm going to roll
2 more
an
paradox?
additional die.
I think
2
one more.
I did twice.
No problem.
So 2 more.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Oh,
Yeah, I did the spell twice.
right.
But
Okay. Yeah.
easy.
Fantastic.
And we are
That's what I'm
cleaned up.
talking about.
Yeah.
Not even a problem.
So cleaned up. Body control is not going to help any of your mental state, but now because you've applied the +2 reach, it's not the +1. The +1 is the armor. Has the time of lethal damage per level of potency. It starts at 1 potency, and then you bought another.
It's going to be a quarter of the time. So it's every... How many days is it to heal lethal?
2. So it's gonna be half day.
for lethal.
Yeah.
Is it that?
Mhm, yeah.
Is that true?
Takes 2 days to heal lethal.
Okay.
That's why scouring for a lethal wound is
Right.
inconvenient.
Yeah. Okay. So 12 hours to heal a wound.
Fantastic. So I'll resume what I was saying once Petrichor has completed her actions.
Yeah, and then so you said that there's no, like, at least from my sight, there's no, like, toxins or disease or anything going on.
Mm.
So she was injured. Is there a sign of this injury?
Sure.
As I get up closer to her, like I'm touching her
right.
now.
So looking over her, and because in some of this is, the narrative reveal, right? As you walk towards her, she's lying on her side. As you come across, you can see that there is a roughly placed pile of clothes against her back that are soaked with blood. So she's kind of self-bandaged. You can see there's, more clothes kind of tied around her back, and around the area. There's obviously rock everywhere, but you can see some stuff that looks like fresh breakage that has fallen at some point onto her, like, lower back. That spot that is really hard to reach.
Mm-hmm.
In short, she is lucky that it didn't, really damage her spine or her head.
Yeah, how did that happen? Oh.
Yeah.
It's like
However, did that happen?
Thank you, Ash.
Fucking supernal being. And that fucking heartache. Motherfucker tried to kill my friend. We're gonna have some words. We're gonna have some words.
At this point, I've been like,
where the hell did Legba go?
So, knowing as soon as he realized she's comatose, so I want it to be thematic that the music came from nothing. I'm kind of wrapped up in the moment, and then Legba realizes, oh, wait a minute. Okay, so he drops the incognito presence.
Sure.
And he holds up a finger to his lips.
Yeah, I'm playing music.
After the music has gone down. That's what I mean. He's not telling you to shush the music. After he's dropped it, he walks up to Petrichor and he says, "She is in a coma."
Yeah.
I'm going to take her out. And then as he gets closer, and he probably didn't notice the blood at first, right? Because, Petrichor's there. She is injured, isn't she?
Yeah.
These Mastigos, you got to give them a minute to catch up on what's going on in the real world.
She should heal in the next day or so.
Thank you.
Provided she stays alive.
I don't think she will hear.
Well, that was the whole point of the destiny that Gisela told us.
Yes. Her initiation is supposed to be her alone, dealing with her demons. And the situation has changed.
Well, let's not have her initiated into the embrace of the Almighty, shall we?
Well then.
Do you see anything?
Not yet.
No Goche, no spirits.
If I took time, I might be able to perceive the connection between her and Heartache.
And I think with that, Isabel flexes that muscle.
Cool. Awesome. Go ahead.
It's that I don't see anything. I need to see something. There's got to be something happening here.
Yep. Okay. Go ahead and take the spooked condition and spend that one willpower.
What?
Because it costs the willpower to activate it.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And
I thought you were saying I have to spend a willpower against my will
no.
because of the condition. I was very confused.
You perceive all the arcana. Just to give you the kind of mechanical sides of this, right? You perceive all the arcana, and your usual view of the primal wilds starts to shift as you watch as stuff starts to decay and kind of fall apart, and then kind of build back up to their pristine conditions. You watch as the walls just take on this crumbling texture as stone erodes, and then suddenly no, it's as if it has just been born up from the earth. And then you watch her breathing and see the air coming out of it, and watching as these spiraling mandalas fall out of her mouth. And then you see her whole body fall apart and become this writhing mass of various screaming demons.
Like, but I don't mean to alarm you, but I believe that the effects of that potion have just worked on me.
Oh no.
And then it cycles through to the primal wild. Yeah, you see where this is going.
Yep.
I can lead you both out.
Oh, I think I can find my way out, or anywhere I needed to at the moment.
Yeah. Notably, as your eyes kind of look up and look about, you may be the first mage. Well, actually, probably not. I can't remember how.
Probably not if somebody wrote this down, right?
But also, was it meant to be drank by those who are awakened? But yes, I can't, because I was trying to remember, because the prime site stuff, do they let you see into the other supernal realms? Excuse me, supernal worlds? So you see as a Macanthus does, or you just get to borrow?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
So the 1-dot spell that they added in Signs of Sorcery lets you lend understanding of an arcana based on their path, based on the subject's path. But then Apocalypse is your site at 4 dots.
Right. Yeah. So you effectively have the 5-path
quintuple Apocalypse.
Yeah. Oh my god.
For all 10 arcana.
Yeah. Woo! Yeah. Hence you took
I'm just gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and jot down some notes.
Yes.
And by notes I mean dots.
Right. So yes. Notably, like, the supernal symbols of everything just are screaming in your face. Everything is here. Legba is this writhing mass of imps and demons, and then desires from, life, and blah, 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 blah. But supernal beings, there is but one. Floating just over Sanity is this, as we've described, basically a black hole sucking entropy. And it just sits there, just, formless. It doesn't have, human shape. But similar to when Gisela said hello, and it seemed to just shift its attention as you kind of open your eyes and kind of blink at all these things happening. It turns its attentions from Sanity to you.
A different character in a different campaign would just say, "Sup, fucker."
I was so glad when Chris was the one to say, "Oh yeah, I'll drink this." I'm like, cool.
I think she cannot help but draw her guns, just as a reflex.
Sure.
That makes sense to me.
Yep.
Just from a back one pouch, like on the back of her hips, just suddenly there's 2 guns.
Absolutely. Notably, I guess I should say that thing is there, and I realize in retrospect, the big wolf is there, kind of, I imagine, behind it, up against the wall across from you. And so I pull out my guns and I start blasting.
So anyways, I start blasting. Goddamn.
Well, I, out of character, don't want to interrupt the cool narrative experiences happening. Legba, after hearing Petrichor's words of concern and knowing that Sanity is injured and she's comatose, would want to immediately grab them and leave. So I want to, out of character, say I'm happy to wait for Legba to do that if you want more of the interesting interaction.
Petrichor, as she pulls out her gun, she said, "It's time for you to go."
Are you gonna stay in here?
Well, I gotta see what's happening. Gotta earn some beats, right?
Mage, make the bad decisions.
You're staying here.
I mean, leave me a way out.
The point was for no one to know that we entered or left. It will be hard for you to escape without me. I suggest if there's anything else, I suggest you leave business unfinished, and we can return once Sanity is okay, and take care of whatever you're planning to shoot.
And she's just like staring off into nothing, literally.
All right,
It's
cool.
like, yeah. That's probably wise.
Tonight is a night for wise decisions. And Cloak, let's see, Sanity's there. Yeah, he's kneeling down at Sanity's side still. I imagine Petrichor is standing, looking at the supernal being, and he first
She starts backing up towards the collapse, like
Covering your
towards the
rear,
exit,
kind of thing.
essentially. Yeah.
So Cloak takes off or looks for some like a piece of clothing so that he can tie that bandage to her lower back.
Mm-hmm.
Then he picks her up gently, the bridal carry. He walks back over to the edge. He takes his hand and places it on Petrichor's shoulder and says, no, he doesn't say anything. Places it on Petrichor's shoulder. He's going to once again cast Incognito Presence, and then he's going to cast Break Boundary again.
I mean, I thought the way you described the spell, so this is why I said,
Mhm.
like, it's just leave me a way out.
Yeah.
Is the way you described the spell seemed like you were doing it on the space.
Break boundary is on the subject and allows you to pass through. Sorry, I'm motioning at my window at things that would allow somebody through, but are currently closed to you. So doors, gaps in rocks, stuff like that. Things that you can get through as opposed to a solid wall, and it just puts you on the other side of them. It doesn't actually reshape the matter.
That makes sense, because I did describe it as, in his mind,
Yeah.
the space being sufficient for the two of us to get
Yeah.
through.
Just ruling that it's big enough to walk
Mhm.
through.
Exactly.
So that's why it sounded like a duration spell on the area rather than on us.
You know, I
That
can
makes
actually
sense.
see
That's all
that.
I was
Hang on,
saying.
let me pull up the book.
Yeah, I
here.
didn't cast it with duration, but if there is a means by
okay.
which I could, yeah,
Right, that's-
why not be creative?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay. If
that was my whole basis of like,
wanting to
I'll
stay.
be there in a second sort of
Oh,
thing.
okay, gotcha. Well
Yeah.
then,
I'm good either way. I
that's
was
interesting.
explaining why I was a little
No,
confused.
That
Yeah, totally.
seems right.
Yeah, like
Seems
it's
doable.
yeah, it's not any. It's just a different
Yeah,
subject.
that's cool.
I think probably in reality, probably actually needs to use some. No, yeah, it's just rocks that let you through them, or a space that lets you through. Yeah,
Yeah,
It's-
you're just ruling that
It's
you
the-
can walk through.
Yeah, that gap is actually, big enough for me to fit.
Yeah,
It's fine.
that's right, because it has some space. So I'm just ruling that the space is large enough for us to fit.
yeah, and it's not all that far from Secret Door. So yeah, I did
Great.
that.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, excellent.
Well, and I
Then, let's
appreciate
do
that being a in-character thing of, well, didn't you just make it big enough? And Legba going, I didn't the first time, but I think I can the second time.
I can now.
Yes, secret tunnel.
So
So it is blessed.
yeah, through the mountain. All right.
And if I remember correctly, we can just scroll up here. Not the veiling one, the ruling one. Because last time your reach included advanced scale.
Yes, that's right.
So we can
For
use
two of
that
us.
same one
Just use advanced skill for the
for the space. Yep.
gap, the space.
Yeah, so That was... We had
Let
one
me see
thing
one
of
thing.
paradox.
See one thing. This would be the second time I've cast Paradox.
Mm-hmm.
Or I've triggered Paradox. I'm looking for something real quick. Isolation. Boundary. Can you... Yeah, okay, you can ward it. This is what I want to do. I guess it'd be a second spell, maybe? Because there's a second
Two
effect,
effects.
right? Okay, yeah. Then... Oh, I know what I know exactly what I'm going to do. Perfect. This is how Legba would think of it. The opener of ways. He's opening up a way from inside the collapse out of the collapse. Because he doesn't want anybody to inadvertently stumble upon it and get behind there. Like, recognize that you can pass through.
Yeah. Or, I'll be honest, you could give it a key.
Okay, well, I thought giving it a key would be... No, that's what I was thinking of.
Mm-hmm. Space
but
does
I thought
keys.
that'd be a second effect.
Hmm.
You know, I know that space does keys. I just thought that wouldn't be something I could include in a single spell.
Sure, yeah, because you have that
Okay,
in
great.
Secret Door, I think, even.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep. Specify
Okay,
a key that it, this,
Great, then I'll take a
Broken
reach for
boundary.
key. Cool. And the key is that, well, it's the two of us, or
Three?
I'll leave the three of us. Sorry. Yeah. All right. I'm distracted from the template. Great. So the reach I will need is
It's 4.
instant cast. Sorry, 4?
yeah,
4 total?
because it's
Cool.
the same spell that you cast before, but with the reach for a key.
Great. Then I space, so I have 1. Oh, so it'd be... Never mind. 2. Don't need to increase potency. Don't need to increase duration. And... increasing scale. Those from Yanchas again.
All right, cool. Now we did mention duration. So the reach here is for instant, scale, the key. What was the fourth? That's what I was trying to remember.
Advanced duration.
Okay, cool. So that covers it all. Cool. If you're using the Assault again, that covers 2 of your paradox.
Yep.
And so that brings us to 3 after the fact. Are you spending any mana?
Yes. I will spend 1 mana.
Okay.
Actually,
Nope.
yeah, cool. Good. It happened. Spent 1. Great. Then I'm going to roll it, and that is 9 dice. Cool. So I've established. So the imago would be that there is a strong chain linking this area through the rocks, and as long as you get on the chain, you can be anywhere you want along it. You can be any link.
I like that.
And so
Pull yourself with it.
What do you think? Exactly. Just pull yourself through. And the key, is that the 3 of us have a link on ourselves that allows us to connect to the chain.
Okay. If I might suggest, just to make this a
Yeah.
little bit, it's just the coven. Just members of the coven
cool.
can walk
Yeah,
through.
that's good. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, perfect.
The fact that you're carrying Sanity, so that's
Mhm.
cool.
not?
I love that. Yeah. So yeah, whoomp, there it is, and you can see this key and pull yourself through, and then oh boy.
I'm going to cast Incognito Presence before I leave.
Okay.
I was laughing at you, Drew.
Womp.
Womp, there it is.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a good point.
I am pleased. Veiling 2/2. Yeah. So if it's the same as before, oh, though it will not be the same as before because last time you did -2 for scale.
That's right.
So it would be 8 dice with no paradox.
Cool. No paradox because
You have 2 reach and you're not overreaching.
yeah, that's right. So okay, great.
That's why I like
And
having
I'll
the
roll
previous
dice.
ones and just scrolling me. What'd you do before? Oh yeah.
Sounds good. Great. Roll them 8.
Cool. Nope.
Well, looks like,
And Isabel just starts walking. It's fine.
looks
Let's
like
get outta
I just
here.
need to try it again.
Sure. All right with that. That will
Roll
provoke.
7.
Well, no, it won't. Because you haven't provoked paradox previously. 7.
Great. Oh yes!
6
Give me that
dice.
exceptional. Yeah.
Sure. So take your willpower and then
Great.
Yeah,
And condition.
with incognito presence. I'll have to think on that. Probably a bonus to subterfuge. Actually, subterfuge.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of like instead of necessarily the physical side of this, but in the event that you have to lie.
Cool.
Yeah.
Or conceal my feelings.
Right. So yes,
Great.
the 3 of you. Actually, wait, 2 of you. Because Petrichor is kind of staying behind a minute.
Yeah.
If I'm understanding everything correctly. Okay, cool.
She's doing what she's gonna do.
So yeah, the 2 of you, Sanity and Legba, step through as you catch now Marina, who's basically moving with the last of the miners and is kind of looking around, trying to find the 2 people who were just here, and step outside, and you can basically follow her and the miners out of the and. Where'd
Excellent.
the 2 guys, where'd the 2 of them go? Nobody's come out. We came out first and they were in there with you and nobody's back there. No, I just cleared everything. You have that conversation as you stealthily, invisibly kind of, dip and dodge past people who are, meandering around. We'll get back over here to Chris. I was just trying to remember because we mentioned casting exceptional luck, so I should cast that. And I was like, "Oh, right! I have to go back and talk about that." No overreach or anything like that. So no paradox or
I
anything.
had just enough, so
Right.
I switched it to a duration spell, so that means I got 3 steps when I got the advanced duration reach. And then I did another -2 to make it last a whole month.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. That breaks everything down. Cool. And then what yantras were you using out of curiosity?
I was using the coin and her, basically.
Okay. Yeah, pluck a little hair. Let me use this one. Yep, cool. Yeah, so that carries off, and the 2 of you are kind of left atop the hill. And were you guys headed down to the cart then? Kind of carry her carefully, kind of weekend at Bernie's between you, the 2 of you?
I mean, she probably doesn't weigh that much.
No, but
either one of us could probably carry her.
Yeah. But it's a bit of a walk is the primary thing.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, I could totally carry you the 10 steps between here and there. However, all the way down the hill. So,
If only there was a horse nearby.
yes. Roach. Never mind, Roach is up on the building. So, Witcher jokes? Really?
Yeah. Come on, it's a good time.
Okay, Chris. I'll explain it later when you're older. Cool. So yes, we cut back down to Petrichor, guns loaded, pointed at this swirling mass of a supernal being you have never seen before. Definitely not a beast or a totem. Excuse me. Yeah. Beast? Yeah. Atavisms.
Yeah, totem or atavism.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just dive in as far as possible with my like vision and stuff, like focusing, even though it's cycling and swapping arcanas and shit. Kind of how like what I did with the wolf, where I tried to like understand what it was doing and stuff like that. So by extending my pattern into it, and I can burn off the rest of that mana if you want.
Let's well actually we'll use that as your scrutiny. What arcana are you kind of couching all of this in?
Spirit?
That's kind of what I figured. Yeah, go ahead and roll Gnosis.
It's the closest to frame of reference I feel like I've got.
Gnosis plus Spirit -3, please. Also feel like this should have infinite opacity for a Thyrsis, but you know. Oh, yeah.
Not gonna give me a circumstance bonus for all this fucking juju drugs I'm on and shit.
I mean, it's like you conceded all, so it lets you roll.
Now that said, this is definitely a fail forward kind of situation. Because as you lean in and look at it, and you know it's been kind of looking back at you in a very like you're far more interesting than Sanity kind of vibe to it. And as you push this mana at it to try and figure out, what the hell are you? What is this? And you've got an idea because Gisela described this thing, and now you're like, oh, I totally know what you are. So this is one of those, and then the abyss looks back at you. Not literally the abyss. Everybody, calm down. That if somebody somewhere was going to panic.
I think the focus that Isabel is doing, she's just like sending one phrase like through her pattern, and it's "Why are you here?"
I like that. Yeah, I don't think you get words the way you get when speaking with the wolf. You're definitely crossing layers of translation here, but yeah, we're gonna upgrade spooked there. Yep, let's see here. Where is this condition? Oh no, I'm with the actual condition. Apex. Here we go. I want to make sure this is the right one. Nope.
I think I resolved spooked, by the way.
Oh, what was the actual condition for spooked?
When your character's fear and fascination causes her to do something that hinders the group or complicates things, she goes off alone to investigate a strange noise.
Absolutely.
Staying behind to investigate the spooky thing you shouldn't even be able to see? Yeah, that sounds good.
Yep. So as you look in, you have a... I mean, looking into this big swirly void of nothing is, kind of upsetting to begin with, and the fact that it's not of your path. There's just a lot wrong going here.
Sure. It's the second void of nothing I've seen today, though, so it can't be that bad.
Well, the other you're really small.
Yeah, that's true. But when you ask, what is it doing? You get
why are
you here? Fair point. Kind of same thing. But yeah, in this particular case, you get a word that just kind of reverberates in your head. It is ruin. And I need you to take...
It's got a capital R in my head.
I need you to take the mystery commands condition.
Oh shit! Oh no!
Oh no.
That's gonna be troublesome when I go into your Oneros.
That's fun.
A lot of trouble for poor Jules.
And I think it's ruin and it's unload.
Cool.
Right? And like like fucking action dive back through the chain. Right.
Yeah.
So as you dive back, touch the chain with your spine, and get like pulled through.
Just like John Woo action dive.
Yeah, that's what I
Absolutely.
figured. Like on wires, it's fucking cool.
You hear from up towards the mouth of the cave, which is a ways away, not in direct line of sight, but you definitely hear some shouts of alarm and exclamation, and you definitely hear clearly somebody saying, "Is that gunshots?"
And like tumble out and just march forward with guns out. You're goddamn right it was.
Do you shout that?
Yes.
Nice. Is this a like run in fear from me kind of vibe that you're going for?
This is I'm running. Don't get in my way.
Okay, I think I'm going to chalk that into intimidation, but I'm up for running more of a lying subterfuge kind of vibe, depending on how you want to play it. In the performance kind of side.
I was going for subterfuge is fine. I was going for like expression of like you probably shouldn't stop me because whatever behind me is worse.
I like how they didn't notice her because of incognito presence, and now she shouts this at them.
Oh yeah,
It's
people
great.
are
I
going to
didn't know
be.
I had incognito presence.
Yeah, you got it
cast
on
it
you.
on you so that you could escape.
Whoops.
No, it's great.
Oh, no.
I'm not opposed to this. This is hilarious.
Well, no, because before it was -2 for scale, so it was just you and Sanity.
Oh, that's how you're treating it?
Mhm.
Okay, I was trying to cast it on all three of us.
Right, that's what I was trying to clarify at the time. It's fine,
Oh, okay.
especially with the gunfire.
I don't really want it.
All right, cool. Sure, fair enough. Go ahead.
Petrichor comes across as less than subtle in my mind. And I
Sounds good.
She's not on a scale of 0 to Songbird. She's like a 6
right.
for now.
Right.
Right.
Fantastic.
Nice. Yeah. There is some shouts of alarm, and like as you come around the tunnel, you can see the lights and stuff like that. And there's a couple people who have lanterns outside, and you've got a little bit of the backdrop of the night sky. You can kind of see people, especially from the dark, looking out, and people are starting to come forward and trying to peer in. And there's a couple, lamps being lifted, and who the hell is that? And when you shout that, there's just a bunch of like, fuck this, and like people are moving out of the way, like they have no idea what is going on.
Like
none of this makes sense.
as I get to the mouth of the cave, I dance around and just like my last 2 shots back into the cave, and then just
Book it.
run past everyone. Right.
That's awesome.
I love that.
Because I still have body control.
Oh, that's true.
And I still got some good stamina going.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, so especially when you fire back into the cave, everyone now is like, oh my god, is there a shootout happening in the cave? Who is in there? Like, this does not make sense on a logical, level, but you had a boom, somebody yelling about get out of the cave, who's not here anymore. There's gunfire in the cave, and nobody took guns into the cave. What is so like the logic later is going to be very confused, which is fine. That's what quiescence is for. But right now, everyone just panicked, and like the bit of organization that Marina had kind of set up outside the mouth of the cave, like head count, where's everybody at? It's a mad scramble. Cockroaches when the light turns on. Everybody just runs for cover. Nobody's running necessarily full sprint out of here, but people are just diving behind rocks, getting behind cover. They don't know what's happening, and you run off into the night, where Theo and Gisela are carrying, poor Rilla down, and all of a sudden, is that gunshots? That was definitely gunshots. Yeah. Oh boy.
10 out of 10.
This has been a day. Yes, as Perry says, mine's haunted. So you guys make your way down into you guys. Gisela and Theo, especially with so much going on over at the mines, comparatively, you guys have a nice, careful walk together, taking Rilla down towards the cart. It is later at night. Valosia is probably already asleep. Catherine is, as Theo would expect, sitting up waiting for her next to the fire. She's probably got, she's probably puffing on her own pipe, and like your pipe is sitting on your stool, right? And kind of looks up and sees the two of you with Rilla between you, and like gets up and is like, "What the hell has happened?" Oh,
it's okay. She just tried some alchemy that didn't agree with her.
Not a lie. And she looks, it's the alchemy, and like helps you guys like set her down onto the ground and kind of leans back against the wheel of the cart, and kind of look gives her a look over, not trusting either of you to have done this correctly.
Sure.
Checks her over and kind of checks her eyes and stuff like that. What is alchemy? What she's a scientist. What were you? What happened tonight?
They are open-minded scientists.
Wow.
She had a potion that was supposed to let you see better. She wanted to see the stars.
And she's having a bit of a reaction to it. She's fine and she's
going well.
safe, but we just said that we would look after her for a few days.
She's physically okay.
Yeah,
Seemingly.
And at this point, she, the pulse has been checked and, feeling her head. She's a little warm, but I think she's okay. And, checking her fingers and, some of those little details of, poisoning and, stuff like that.
She's having some really intense dreams as a result of the potion. That's all.
Okay.
Would you be aware of the mushrooms?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, just like that's basically what she would be able to tell is happening,
right.
If you thought.
And as Chad asked, is she speaking in tongues? Yes, when she wakes up, she definitely will be. Okay. Well, wait, why are we watching after her? Why is she not at the tavern or with Mortimer?
Scientists. They want to look at stars.
Oh, they kept working while she's sick.
Yes.
Men.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they're important men that had work to do, apparently, rather than look after her. Besides, I think we're probably better equipped to help her.
Oh, that's for sure. Okay. Well, yeah, she can. Yeah, she can stay, and we'll get her set up, and we'll keep an eye on her. And tomorrow, you are going to go look at the plot that I've kind of picked out.
Of course.
And kind of nods at Gisela and says, "Thank you for your assistance. Or you don't need to stay. Like we have her." Okay.
Of course, I would like to come and check on her.
Yeah, of course. You're always welcome.
For now,
You'll
she's
give
in
an
good hands.
enthusiastic nod, yeah.
Yeah.
And Catherine kind of gives Gisela a hug and says, "I appreciate you. Keeping, and you two are like, this is great. I like this, but like, you can come over and
Theo has friends,
right? Yeah, and like you can come over and have dinner sometime. It's totally okay. Yeah. Otherwise, there's this slightly awkward kind of like, okay, how do we say goodbye? You can go. We're good. Kind of thing.
Yeah. And I'm going to head in the direction of the mine.
Yeah, you did hear a commotion. Okay. Yeah. So I guess actually then the question becomes, where did Legba take Sanity?
So Legba's thinking of two options, right? One would be to go find Theo and ask her to help. Another would be to put her in a place where no one's going to find her. Or what would be the thoughtful thing is to bring her to her sister. To bring her back and say, look, she's here and he's in Legba form right now. The last time that Cloak spoke to Sanity and Missy J, he said, "I am Legba now," and he's going to return as Legba with Sanity. So I think that it would be a good conversation to have between the two of them. He would sneak in an incognito presence, and I think maybe use her chambers and put her down, and then bring Missy J in and have a conversation. So he heads back to
The barracks.
Cool.
And then Isabel, running like hell from the mines, where are you headed? I'm trying to figure out where your paths might intersect. I mean, even just into town, because
Yeah.
So yeah,
Into town, but like finding an out of the way spot.
again,
And it's at night, right? Like I feel like it's not hard
it's
to
a
just
lot of out of the way spots. As long as you don't, like wake one of the dogs up. Yeah, moving through town,
Right.
there's no street lamps that are lit or anything like that.
Right.
So yeah, potentially run into Isabel and Gisela. Gisela and Isabel run into each other. I think in that case, Legba off in the barracks is probably not going to be spotted because that's a short jaunt as opposed to the direction everybody else is heading. And that is where we'll pick up after our break because I need coffee.
Cool. Sounds good.
So Twitch guys, we'll be back in 5 minutes. Please stand up, walk, move, dodge, dip, dive, hydrate. And YouTube guys,
Duck and dodge.
Thank you. YouTube guys, we will be back like super fast. Okay. See, I told you we'd be back really, really fast. So quick clarification came up during the break. Not Mystery Commands the persistent condition. No, Exarchal Dreams the persistent condition. Yeah. Whoops. Slightly different. Very big difference. Yeah. And so yes, we pick up with Petrichor kind of huddling up against the first house that feels secure and kind of relaxing and becoming, Isabel again instead of being Petrichor.
putting her guns away.
Tuck them in the bag, wiping. Well, probably don't
Reloaded
wipe
them
down.
first, though.
Oh, very true. Which I think Gisela, you probably hear soft metallic clicking coming from behind your house.
Okay, I'm going to slip out to investigation.
Kind of imagine on your way back is when you may hear that. But yeah, Isabel is.
It's probably safe to say I see you coming.
Yeah, because you see everything right now. And I'm going to go ahead and add in a little bit of a, did you try to close your eyes? Too bad. It's not going away.
Oh, I figured as much. If anything, it's going to last longer because fucking body control.
It's true. I hadn't thought about that, but I like
slows
it.
down the processing of the potion. If it happens to interact that deep. Hi, Gisela.
You doing
Is
all
this your
right?
house?
Yeah.
I saw your void in the mine.
How?
The potion.
It let you see
I
that.
see everything.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of other supernal beings that you've seen floating around while running through town.
There's a lot of supernals here. It's like we're parked at a Hellmouth or something.
I mean, we never really touched on it that much because in the Rookery, Science and Sorcery came out almost a year into the campaign or whatever. But yeah, I mean, they're supposed to just be sort of
around.
floating around and,
Yeah.
and there, but not there. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, I
See everything.
have a firm answer of how many heavens and arcana there are.
Do you want to lie down?
I'm good. I don't want to trouble your family. But I needed to collect myself after causing a scene at the mine.
Was that you then?
Yes. A dramatic exit.
Certainly. Did you shoot someone?
I shot the super. Well, shot at it.
No. Okay.
No.
Did it react to you at all?
Yeah.
What did it do?
It put a single word into my head. Ruin.
Yeah, and I think I definitely think it's both in high speech and also it has those big, scary, oppressive, vibes stuck to it, which is possibly the first time you guys.
I don't think I meant to. Like, I was conversing fully in English or in
yes.
What did we determine? Yeah, Spanish. I think is our common language here. It's just comes out as high speech involuntarily.
Yeah. And this, unless you guys have other reason, this is probably your first interaction with the Iron Pyramid in any way.
Yeah, it put a word in your head? Like, it spoke to you?
Yeah.
For some
I
definition
tried
of speech.
to investigate it. And it communicated.
I don't know how to get rid of one of these, but I think I'd like to find out.
It certainly has a firm idea that it should be there.
Do you think?
It's almost growing roots at this point.
Do you think they can die?
I think I'd have to be a lot better shot.
Like, if we can pull it here, do you think we could kill it?
I appreciate that Theo and Cloak are off. Let's enter Neros. Let's delve into our souls. Meanwhile, Isabel and Gisela are like,
Attack and
let's
dethrone
kill
God."
a fucking angel.
I mean, this is a very bad thing, right? And in my head, I'm like, can we kill it?
How do you kill a truth?
Because, I can... Because at this point, right, I figured out that I think I can
I mean,
bring it here.
You've read
right?
a lot of stuff about summoning things and ways to do it.
Yeah.
And
I'm pretty sure I can summon it. I don't know if I can banish it. But if we summon it and we can kill it, that also solves the problem?
Provided that it can die.
Yeah, I don't know if they can. Can you talk to... You have one, right?
Yes, but I can't. It's only little bits and pieces and only when I'm extremely focused.
So you can't ask it if it can die?
I'm fairly certain he would be offended by the question.
you also laughed when you asked if it was alive.
Yeah.
And I might try to find more information on banishing. Because I want to get rid of this.
For sure.
Can you make it back to tavern? You want me to walk you?
I'll be fine. Just see the sights on the way.
You should really go lie down. I'm gonna just go inside, and I don't have any books on demon killing.
Your thorns and curses, they're certainly something.
As you can see them now. Yeah.
I will say this. I do not envy the ways in which Cloak and shit, my brain just emptied out. Theo see the world.
It's bad.
Upsetting. And she just like walks away.
Fair.
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
fun.
I guess I'm just gonna go in and head on to bed.
All right. So we jump over to Legba, who has basically set down Sanity in Messy J's room. Do they share quarters, or do they have separate space?
We haven't discussed that. I imagine they'd have a separate space.
Okay.
I mean, it could be that they still enjoy it, but the barracks are small, so I figured that here they'd probably have separate rooms.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and set her down, and then how do you...
This is what Legba would do. Legba would enter. People are assuming that Sanité's in the mines. So he enters her room, and he puts her down. And then if he drops incognito presence, it'll be you have to drop it on both of them. Great. Okay. So he's carrying her. So before he drops incognito presence, he's going to cast a spell on her. He's going to drop the spell at the mine.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't know. If it's been an hour, then it would have already lapsed anyway. So the duration would have expired if it's a different scene. Oh, also, I think that he embodied his virtue last scene, which is protective. So
yeah,
let me restore my willpower.
Absolutely.
Great. So he's then going to cast a spell on her before he drops incognito presence.
Mm-hmm. What are we casting?
He is going to cast an improvised spell, Practice of Perfecting. In Cloak's mind, there are many chains that interrupt us from a state of sleep. And sleep is just one mental state we can be in, right? We can be awake, we can be comatose, stuff like that. So he is going to perfect her sleep such that nothing will rouse her. So he's thinking of it. So he's casting Sleep with Adjust, basically. Right. So the reach is going to be instant cast and duration.
I always forget that you can use that to stay awake.
Yeah, it's great. You can also use it quite effectively in a fight to put somebody into a coma.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to hurt them. You can just say, we're not fighting. All right, so I need 2 reach.
And I'll go ahead and tell you don't need to increase potency.
Okay, great. And I have 1. And he wants to leave her in this state for how long? Oh, he already has it. It's with advanced duration. It's going to be a week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, great. So he doesn't increase the duration and all, and leaves it at a week. And he thinks that, well, the way Cloak is thinking about this is, or the way Legba is thinking about it, is that her mental state at this point will influence where she goes along the crossroads. She is being influenced and interacting with Heartache, and this is still in the intermediary part of her initiation. And so his plan is to provide her with an opportunity to still go through her demons outside of the reach of ruin. So he is going to actually make her dream as though she's still in the mine and that she's coming to terms with all that stuff.
I did that. It's good.
Yeah. So then as let's see, his yantras will be his Azon and then his shadow name and
Sure.
Cabal theme. Great. So that's going to be 10 dice.
Correct. A little
Cool.
bit of overreach.
Yep, overreach, and if it's a different scene, then yep, right ahead. So
And you're using your son, so that's just a chance die anyway. So
sweet, cool. Let me roll at 10. 3 successes.
nice.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And so like her motion, especially, turning on mind sight to kind of check in on her and watch as it shifts from the comatose kind of, which I think in mind is this very just black void that she's resting in, into something that has a bit more color and life to it. And, there's this, not physical, because she's, comatose, but this relaxing within her as she just kind of settles back. And
Fantastic.
there's obviously no, you don't have life or anything like that, but you can already start to see some of this stuff, some of the small bruises or anything like that she has that are already fading, stuff like that. So the body control from Petrichor is, working and, soothing her pains and stuff like that. And I can't remember, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong. Does body control? Yeah, because it affects your metabolism, so you don't need to eat as much, right? Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so she could potentially sleep for a week and be fine.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then where do you go from there?
Yeah. So now that he's put her in the state and allowed her to dream a vivid, authentic, faithful dream as though she's still undergoing her initiation without any kind of interruption or the tampering, the way Legba thinks about it, right, is that he's responsible for these people, and he's also responsible for people's experiences when they're trying to make the right choice along a crossroads. So if something is forcing them to make a choice and robbing them of their agency, then it's his duty to do something about it. But he can't take her away from it. The only way for him to participate in a way that's consistent with his responsibilities is to put her back in a place where she's still able to go through that process. So it doesn't have to be, it can be vibrant and real, right? But it isn't necessarily pleasant. It's whatever is going on for her.
What she
in that state.
expects to deal with. Yep.
Exactly. Not having a mind collapse on top of her. So Cloak is, or Legba's now going to make one of two choices. At first he was thinking that he'd bring Messije and let her know, but he realizes he can just leave up a spell here so no one will bother her, and if he wants, he could bring her back into the mine later.
Nobody ever has to know.
Exactly. And everything he's learned about Legba and all he's thought about, he realizes that that is actually the best choice for her. That everyone in the cult, right, doesn't need to hear about this. All that needs to happen is he is able to provide her with her experience without heartache and without ruin tampering with it. And if it has to be here in her room, that's totally fine. So in order to prevent people from coming in here, he's going to cast an incognito presence on the space.
I'm totally willing to let you do that. You can just lock the door and nobody's really coming in here.
Oh, okay. That's a good point.
Yep.
She's not going to make sounds. I've controlled her sleep. Okay. Well, that's fine. That's fine with me then.
Yep.
Then I won't release incognito presence. I'll lock the door and I'll drop it, I guess, when I get out of here.
Sure.
Cool. Yeah, let's do that. Make it simple. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
And then,
I mean, like it's the door right there that everybody in the barracks can see. It's like, why are you going into Sanity's room? I left something in there. No, you didn't. Get the fuck out of there.
That's a good point. Yeah, totally. Okay, so then he has one active spell up. I'll write that down, and he'll head back up the hill.
Mhm.
So I'm okay if we have a scene change to other people. I just want to let you know that leg of his next plan is he needs to finish figuring out what's going on with the heartache.
Gotcha. Theo, you're down with Catherine and Rilla. As far as I can see, it's basically going to be a make sure she's comfortable, lay her down. Some good-natured grumbling from Catherine about, oh look, there's our space on the bed next to Valosia, and we're gonna have to sleep out on the floor on the ground again. But she gets it, and she liked Rilla, so.
And Theo will be spending as much time as possible scrutinizing.
Looking over. So you're gonna have to spend a little bit of is it willpower to extend your mage sight for quite a long duration.
Yeah, for a scene. You get
I have-
hypnosis in minutes, and then if you want it longer than that, so willpower for a scene.
Yes.
I have one willpower.
Right. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Which, I mean, that's going to last you about an hour, and then eventually, like, you're just going to have to give up trying to watch so closely. Oh, but you can't always just turn it back on and check in on her every now and then when your eyes start to rest.
Yeah.
But otherwise, any conversation with Catherine? I mean, I imagine you catch her up on the the safe details. But yeah, anything else?
Yeah. It's got to be sanitized because I'm not interested in pushing another breaking point on her.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just a sanitized version of what happened. Stick with the alchemy thing and try and give her lots of mental outs.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like give her mental escape routes that if this gets a little too crazy, she can find a way back to reality.
Right.
So that, yeah.
Back to the lie.
I'm just worried that Rilla's gonna get up and start like running circles around the camp.
Yeah, that's
At
my
climbing
reason.
speed
She's
and
like
stuff.
the forces.
Yeah,
She's gonna start throwing fireballs.
but maybe now that she's in an unconscious state, maybe she'll just do her supernal exploration there.
From there,
Without-
I was just
That's
saying.
what I'm hoping.
we could be so lucky.
Yeah, I was just say, Gisela can tell you, oh no, I remember sleeping and waking up and still being in Arcadia. Yep.
Yeah, so we'll
They're
see how
saying
that
like
all
if she
goes.
went to sleep and then had like stayed comatose through the rest of it.
And just remind her that like the idea of having Gisela over for dinner is great, but Gisela's mother is not my biggest fan, so there might be some tension there. Just something to think about. Don't push it too hard. Basically, is just what she's saying.
Sure.
So definitely stay around the cart as much as possible, unless like Gisela comes over to take over, watching our awakening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I mean, for that night, because it's sun is already down and stuff like that. So for that night, probably it's you and Catherine for a little bit, and until it's like, okay, she's sleeping, like she's safe. There's not much you can do other than sleep and wait.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. In that case, Isabel, your walk over to the tavern is uneventful, but harrowing is a good term for it. Yeah. As the rocks beneath you seem to suddenly fall away into yawning voids of nothingness, and it's like, oh, this sucks, oh, I hate all of this, because like, and 100% intentional the way this was written, air quotes, is like, oh yeah, this is really cool, okay, I'm so over it, and it doesn't go away. And you have Madame Robert checking in on you as you watch her face turn into like a skull mask, so to speak, and just like, yep, oh, I don't know. Yeah. But eventually making your way back into your room. The entire time, though, this big black wolf just continues to like pad along and walk beside you. It is not necessarily companionable, but it is definitely watching you. Oh yes, thank you, Perry. Yeah, you're high. Everyone knows, and you're really weirding everyone out. Yep. As you know, as Isabel's eyes get suddenly wide, staring into Madame Robert, and just like, whoa, what am I looking at? But yeah, if you're good, you know, basically make into your room where the big wolf watches you, and you know you have that. Oh, well, I'm just going to close my eyes and it'll be all better. No, it's not much better. You are not getting willpower tonight. You know, and you kind of drift on and off, but like you're almost always awake until sun rises.
Love that.
Yeah. It's rough. Also, just a slight meta out of character thing. Mortimer still has the recipe. Yep.
Oh yeah.
So
we do good things with that.
That would be the next step on her list.
Sure.
My assumption was that Rilla was the one who did the alchemy.
That is correct.
So like the rest of them might not be able to do it right.
That is a good statement. If you've headed to bed, Gisela sits up, you know, with candle to look over her books to try and figure out, demon slaying. Kill 1,000 demons. That hasn't been released yet. Cool. And then Legba.
1,000?
Is it 1,000?
6 billion?
6 billion.
6 billion?
Man, I haven't read it.
Just-
You're
It's a
coming
little
up.
off.
You're coming up a little short there.
I haven't read it. Yeah.
It's just hyperbole.
And Legba is heading up to the hill.
Yeah.
Okay. Up towards
And
the
this
observatory,
is-
or
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, he needs to continue scrutinizing. He needs to finish it so he can understand.
cool.
And then he needs to leave the book of high speech.
Okay.
Or he'll steal it at night, whichever you prefer.
Well, you make your way up to, you know, the observatory. Jules and Mortimer are still working. You can hear a bit of conversation of, you know, Jules kind of leaning from the observation kind of down towards the mines and saying, "Guy, looks like they've gone back into the mines. I don't know who that was." As they were very curious about the gunshots and the shouting. The shouting that made a little bit of sense because I had seen the two of you, but the gunshots, that's weird. Don't know what that was all about. And they are, Mortimer is making observations and stuff like that. And you see the pot is on. Bubbling away.
Cloak walks up and kicks it over.
Okay.
And then turns to them and says, "It seems that courtesy is insufficient to influence your behavior for your best interest. You were explicitly told not to drink this." I recognize out of character. Cloak may be making an assumption about what's in the pot.
Yeah.
We were just making tea.
They were in,
Just tea.
yeah, they were in fact making tea. Which, like, Mortimer kind of looks at you, and like, now of course you can see like that is, you know, thin. You know, it's not the weird, thick, almost porridge thing. And he kind of looks at you and says, "I imagine tonight has been a very stressful night for you. It has been for us as well. But we have taken your suggestion." And like, there's a hidden air quote floating there, right? Your suggestion to not brew the potion further. But we do need something. And like Jules has already kind of gone over and like is starting, you know, kind of fixing it back up and stuff like that. It says, but we understand. And then kind of looks from, Mortimer, kind of looks down towards the mine and motions and says, "Is everything all right?"
So I think this is when, this is finally when Cloak's like actually dropping away from. I figure like he's shifting out of Legberries as he's getting up there, and Cloak's reasserting himself, but his responsibility for things was still in the back, and that's what he was leaning on a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So he realizes what he just did. And he says, "I'm sorry."
Your apology is appreciated, but unnecessary. I can understand the assumption that you just made. And he pats his, vest pocket and says, "I will admit my curiosity, but Rilla is having a very bad night. So until she pulls through, I'm not ready to try this. Especially after the less than subtle threat from Miss Isabel."
Great. All right.
Again, I asked.
Yes. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, you were there. Yeah, you cut him off as he was like, "I was about to ask." Yeah.
Yeah. The last few hours were stressful indeed. I believe I might be willing to tell you more about it tomorrow.
That is all well and good. We also have several hours of the night ahead of us, and, momentarily, a new pot of tea. You are welcome to sit and talk.
I would like to do so, and continue evaluating what you found.
You are welcome to. Jules, pulls up a, little stool thing beside the fire, because the night has kind of started to set in, and you're on top of a ridge. There are no trees. Like when that wind decides to kick up, damn you, Petrichor. It's like, oh, that's a little cold. But yeah, and for the most part, they're more than happy to talk about whatever you want to. They're not very attentive conversationalists in the fact that they're definitely focused on this, but they both recognize this has been a wild night, and they're happy to have some additional company as they're working over stuff and trying to. They do kind of nudge and go like, they are trying to figure out what the hell happened at the mine, though. Great.
So then, these are the two goals that Cloak has. Finish scrutiny on Heartache, and then getting access to the book. So he's happy to ask again, and also perhaps make a deal with Mortimer, right? He's thinking that it's a different circumstance, so it might be a good idea, considering all that's transpired, to tease a little bit of info, and then try and figure out a way he can get access to the book himself.
Yeah, so the scrutiny is, easy. You can go ahead and make another. I can't remember where we left off.
I think we left off. It was still opacity 2. I think I had 1 success left in opacity 2.
Yeah, that's right, because we had 1 cleared.
Right.
Those 3, I think I cleared the 3. Great. So then Cloak is going to make a roll with Gnosis in space. He's going to spend 1 willpower and 1 mana.
Okay.
With the hope that if I get 1, I'll get 1, and then it'll be completely cleared.
Right.
Cool. Mana. Space and Gnosis. Roll it.
Survey says 5 successes.
Oh yeah!
Doesn't do anything, unfortunately, in this particular case. But yeah,
that's all right.
Well, it does though,
Mm-hmm.
because exceptional success on scrutiny goes through multiple layers of opacity.
Right, but he was on. Oh, that's actually very true. That you do need that for.
So it's very relevant.
Yep. So yeah, does get it actually all in one. So yeah, clears through that, and yes, you have a pretty good picture of what this thing is, at least from a Mastigos and very space-oriented vibe.
Cool.
This is a place that does not care about distance. Obviously, it has the ability to interact with things anywhere.
Transcends distance.
Correct. It is a empty place in terms of physical things, and it is, without actually seeing it and without having like matter and stuff like that, it is basically a space and nothing but a space. But you know that there are many minds in there, such that, like, I would not go far. Actually, I don't know why I'm doing this. Could you roll intellect plus occult for me, please?
I am happy to. And it's important to him to get info. So he's going to make this rote. Oh, space is still selected. Great.
The Craig classic. I'm going to sneak in a little extra fate here into my die roll. I know it's always unintentional.
No dots
Craig.
on the skill. It's okay. I got 5 dots and no 5 dots and no.
Yes.
Oh, very
Give
good.
me that condition.
I'm going to basically go ahead and burn your condition for you,
Okay.
and I'm going to give you a moment of epiphany.
Awesome.
Basically, you do not get the full picture, but considering what Gisela mentioned about destinies and what Isabel talked about there being no life or spirits, it appears to be, without actual observation, a plane, a space that things exist on in some kind of, thing that doesn't match any real world space, right? It doesn't move, it doesn't have heat, it doesn't have, motion, but it has these destinies and these minds, and you make the logical jump to there are things with minds that have specific destinies and are reaching across infinite distance to inflict events that inspire heartache and are just absolutely devastating, and, shall I say, ruinous.
Mm-hmm.
If you wish to ask clarifying questions, I will give you 3.
Excellent.
To kind of dig into, well, more than digging questions, not necessarily clarifying questions, but.
Yeah. So the first question is, and it's okay with me if you say that's probably not something you'd be able to figure out, and I'll ask a different question. So the first question that Cloak has is this under the direct purview of some denizen of Pandemonium?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, gotcha. I know it's linked to Stygia. I, out of character, know that. What Cloak is trying to determine is there some Stygian being having to deal with minds who has some oversight, like a warden of it or something like that, if we want to use some kind of terminology to describe it. Okay, cool. Great. So that's helpful for him to know. The second thing is he'd ask, oh, yeah. Does it seem like its connection with Purgatory Bluff is permanent?
No.
Excellent. And then the third question is, does he get any impression that he can actively assert influence on its space-based connection?
Absolutely.
With places?
Right. You to not accidentally muddle the question. No, there's no way. Like this thing,
Cool.
Especially because at Space 2, we've discovered sympathetic connections.
Mm-hmm.
Like looking at this thing, understanding it, and you have that moment where you kind of sit back from the telescope and realize this thing is beyond my reach.
Okay. Great. That's really helpful. I think that's his thorough investigation of the space within the void.
The void within the space.
Yeah, that's right.
Cool. And then as you guys are talking, I know you wanted to talk about the book. And yeah, Mortimer, restates his offer of, if you will sit with me, we can meet at the tavern during the day and show me how you are translating this, then I am happy to work with you. If you think in some way I will not be able to understand it, then I will have to trust you. But I wish to have the original transcription that you make of it, and I will keep the book.
Cloak then says, I think that's suitable. I would like to suggest 2 additional
Caveats.
not a warning so much as
Sure.
conditions. I'm committed to reading the entirety of this book tonight.
Okay.
It is important to me for reasons that, to lean on the explanation I gave you before, you might not understand.
I can understand.
I am willing to, in the course of reading through it, read it and tell you what it means to me, and you can transcribe as I do so.
That first condition is all right. Was there a second, or was that two-parter?
I guess those were 2.
Okay.
That well, no, actually, he's saying
It was
he's reading it
tonight,
tonight.
and-
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was read the entirety of it tonight, and then he can
Essentially
transcribe.
dictate it.
Yeah. Oh no, he's saying I'll do this once because it may be taxing for both of us.
Sure. Yeah, Mortimer kind of looks and says, all right, well, Jules, I think for now that we'll be done studying it. I think we have enough new recordings of it to chart its path, and we can see what we come up with in the morning when we're refreshed. For now, if you would assist me, and Jules and Mortimer, because Mortimer is one-handed effectively, basically get out pen and paper and sit with you and read over this book. And yeah, you read through it, start to finish. I can't remember. Have you picked up the merit that we discussed previously? Okay.
I'm going to. I wanted this to be the justification.
Ooh, I like that. Then yes, in that case, go ahead and take the merit basically now.
Cool.
But yes, reading through, this is the biggest section of high speech you've ever seen, because up until now you guys haven't written anything, haven't seen anything, haven't heard much other than when speaking with supernals during your awakening. So this is a lot, and there's, I imagine Cloak goes into this with some confidence, and like you quickly hit that first wall of like, oh boy, because language when it's high speech is very clear and precise, but it's one of those things, I read an entire sentence and then the next word now has changed the entire context of that sentence, and trying to understand the language of it and how it flows. But Jules and Mortimer are working alongside you, and there's some grumbles and complaints as they scratch through some stuff and come back through. But by the end of it, you're like, I get this. Like, I've got a lot of syntax that I've picked up from here. And for anybody who's wondering, he's picking up high speech fluency as the merit. Doesn't help you with your casting, just you're real good at speaking and summoning, if I remember correctly.
And interacting with other mages socially.
Ah, right. Because you can impress them with your edumacation.
But yeah, interacting with the supernal beings is really what he wanted it for.
Right.
Because I figured there's going to be some cool shit happening.
So,
plus, Legba's the great elocutioner, and I thought that if I didn't get it for Cloak,
felt like a miss.
It would be an oversight. Yeah, it'd be like, what are you doing? Come on now.
The basic write-out is out of, Treasure Island, though I don't know if that's been published yet. But it is a treasure map. And it goes through some absolutely redundant and, I dare to say, asinine steps, like sit and camp for 2 days in the same place. And then you can go. Some absolutely ridiculous stuff. However, Just going to pretend that's fireworks outside.
It was 1882.
Oh, thank you. But yes, predating Treasure Island. I keep wanting to say Treasure Planet.
I mean, it does predate Treasure Planet as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
Of note, and the thing that they keep grumbling about and saying that there's no way this map starts with beneath the full moon. They're like, that's not a starting place for a journey. But
That makes total sense to me.
right.
Yeah.
All the directions are relative to your current space. It's not this mountain range or this path. Though some of the directions are like, that's potentially problematic when it's like, oh yeah, go X number of feet, east. And it's like, but what if that sends you flying off of a cliff? Yeah, they grumble and complain, and Mortimer is like, there's no way this is correct. We got to scratch that out. And like, they're absolutely like incensed by this thing, especially because I imagine you are reading this aloud in high speech, especially to start trying to get over and stuff, which sounds like a bunch of gibberish. And then you say this stuff in, French, and they're like, what is, by the end of the night, they are very, very frustrated. You probably feel some level of elation between having read the book, perfect recall check, and having really brushed up on your high speech. And they're like, they look at it, and Mortimer is like, tell me truthfully, and like looking into your eyes, that is what this said.
That is what it said.
Like looking at the book and just like rolls his eyes and just like hands you it and said, this is like, I've got the transcription. I cannot understand this. Take it. Like,
thank you.
This is useless. Now, because I imagine Legba or Cloak are not about to explain that, hey, listen, that could be a very valid starting place when you understand things like space, or fate, things that where this totally may work. But yet this...
Well, he told him he might not be able to understand the meaning.
Right.
Even after the translation. And he's not going to repeat himself in that regard.
Right. And Mortimer, is like, this is all fair and like believes you. Let's be honest, for the couple weeks now, it's very clear. Cloak can't lie for anything. Like his face is pretty readable. If, Terminator smile aside, but it's like, yeah, sure, take this. Like it is useless to us. If it works for you and your coven, then you are welcome to it. And like they're still irritated that they've had this thing. Well, Mortimer specifically has had this thing for so long, and it is useless. But in summary for you all, this map between it stops and starts and back and forth and stuff like that, and some of the distances, because some of the distances are like 10, 20 feet this direction. Others are like, okay, now travel for miles. Now camp in this place for a couple days. This is easily a weeks-long journey, if not potentially more, depending on, like, oh, we need to traverse this distance, and it's like, well, it's going to take us a week to cross that canyon to get over to that point, if we're talking about that literally, unless they mean go 300 feet down this scraggly steep cliff. How are we supposed to translate this? So yeah, it will be a serious journey. And Into the West Arc 2.
Are we going into the West?
Or yeah. Or whenever you guys are like, oh, okay, let's go figure what this thing does. But yeah.
Awesome. Woo. Yeah, Cloak is definitely elated by this. And how late at night is this? That will determine where he goes next.
At this point, it's like we're pushing like the witching hour, the proper like 3 to 4 a.m.
Okay. then there is one more thing he wants to do.
Sure.
So I'd like to ask a quick out-of-character question. Do you think it'd be great utility for a cloak to try and scrutinize using the mind arcanum of Heartache at some point? It doesn't have to be tonight. I'm not suggesting you do it in this session.
Run that by me again?
Sorry, yeah. Do you think Cloak will find utility in scrutinizing scrutinizing Heartache with the mind arcanum?
Oh,
using mind.
I heard you say.
Would you find relevant?
No.
Yeah,
I
would it be
heard
a relevant use of
mind,
time?
but I was thinking of an arcana that one has mind.
Oh, the mind arcanum. Yeah, that's how you win Minecraft.
And I was just like, what are you talking about? No, at this point, you basically have. I gave you, especially with
Great.
that exceptional,
Cool.
what you can get as a
Fantastic.
Mestigos. Yeah.
Wonderful. Excellent. That's what I was trying to confirm. Thank you for answering that question. Great. And I also don't want Cloak to stay up there in a few hours, and also Ralph to be wasting time. We want to switch other characters and things like that. So there is one last thing, which probably isn't going to take very long. He's probably going to stay where he is. Oh, no, actually. He'd go down into the ritual space in the mines. The clean space, not the space with ruin, the meditation spot. And he's going to try and check on Sanity. And having gone through this process of going into somebody else's Oniros, reaching across and connected to Theo, he thinks he could finally, at this point, he understands, he knows that she's sleeping and he knows what she's going to be about. He can think about it. He thinks he's going to be able to enter her dreams, or at least view them, and he wants to try.
Sure.
He's going to cast his first sympathetic spell.
Yeah. And rather than roll it, spend the mana.
Cool. Let's just do it.
Yep.
Great.
Especially
Fantastic.
because I imagine, well, actually, probably doesn't do it ritually, but yeah, the reach plus the mana for it, and yeah, you are able to reach out across the connection to Sanite and view into her dreams. Kind of like looking into the bubble, and it has her meditating. And you get a little bit of an Inception vibe in the fact that she thinks of herself meditating, so she is meditating.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So that was his obsession.
Yep. I knew it was there. I was like, hang on, you're going to meditate there? Or you're going to cast the spell finally?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It solidified for him. Oh my gosh. All of these things together and seeing space and stuff like that. So thanks.
Yep. Which brings us to Sunday morning. Everybody gets willpower. Except for Isabel.
I think Isabel gives up on sleeping at one point, and realizing it's not going to happen, finds a candle and some paper and ink, and starts essentially just stream of consciousness, thinking about all these different things and how they could apply relevantly to her craft, as it were.
Okay.
And knowing that she won't have access to all these things and stuff like that, she starts focusing in on the different ways that forces, life, and spirit show up when she's looking, and like when it cycles to another world and stuff like that.
What does life look like from Pandemonium side kind of thing?
Right. And so with a more well-rounded cyclical view of life, she jots down, spends time drawing a rune. And it's essentially a tree where the kind of like the what is it, the Norse symbol for
Idrissa?
Yggdrasil, where the branches come down and the roots go up and form a thing, but more separated and essentially forming small patterns of infinity all throughout. And I don't think she knows that symbol or if it's even been invented yet, but it sort of shows up in more of a high speech way.
I dig that.
Yep.
Is this in preparation for something or just a... Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just a preparation of how a rune for body control could look.
I like
Oh,
that.
cool.
I like that. Cool. Everybody else passes through the night and into the morning with Isabel basically not necessarily being... Well, actually, sunup happens and everything kind of fades from her sight. And, shortly thereafter, it's like, oh, finally I can rest. And you hear Madame Robert knocking on the door. Come on, wake up! And it's just like, fuck!
Oh, I don't think she ever, like, especially if it starts getting light.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, she just, and I don't think that she'd be tired. Mentally strained, sure.
Oh yeah, physically,
bodily
yeah, with body control.
No, because body control has kept her, she hasn't gotten hungry yet. She hasn't gotten, thirsty or whatever.
Of note,
so she just starts putting on her makeup and getting ready.
And Isabel does not get sick. No vomit.
Awesome.
No sudden stomach cramp. Body control just handles that shit. Puny little fallen magic potion, get fucked. But putting on your makeup, Madame Robert greets you, good morning, sunshine. It's just like, yep.
Yep.
And down you guys go to get the day ready for...
Head off to church.
Oh, yes, actually, very true. For Theo and Catherine, night passes pretty uneventful, especially if you are sleeping out under the stars. Sun's gonna wake you up real well. And hour or so after sunup, Rilla wakes and is babbling and speaking in high speech. Of note, she's not moving at that incredible speed again. And almost seems like she is seeing like you and Catherine and kind of, moving around you and sometimes talking to you the way, was talking to Gisela at one point, and it's just firing off, and you get that same bit that Gisela got with, I don't understand any of this, except for every other word, and her specifically, because I didn't bring it up before, her glossalia seems to be this shifting melange of numerous different languages. She's giving you Spanish, French, Latin, English, and the languages that you recognize that's not a real word, but it sure sounds like it belongs in Spanish. It is.
But I understand it as still high speech, right?
Oh yeah, definitely recognize it as high speech, because you occasionally grab one of these, a couple of these different words here and there, but without proper context or the other half of the conversation. It's just like, wait, hang on, what are you talking about? The sun in the morning, what? Yes, the sun is up.
So if I respond to her in high speech, is she able to process that and recognize that somebody's talking to her?
Nope.
Okay.
For the most part, the morning is kind of normal-ish. You just kind of have to keep an eye on Rilla, who seems to be walking about, and as you and Gisela kind of prepped her for Catherine. She's seeing some things right now. Everything is kind of what you would expect, except for the part where she just plows over Valosia. It's not rough or mean. She just doesn't seem to have any sense that Valosia is there.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
There's a stumble and fall, and Rilla gets back up and is dusting herself off and looking for what happened. And Valosia, who's been very, I imagine, interested in what the older girl is doing, and I think it's probably this turn that Rilla did, and just walks over her, and just feet get tangled up in small girl, and falls.
that's a lot to process. Maybe we can change scenes for a moment.
Absolutely. No, that's fine. Yeah, because that's definitely whoa, hang on. Yep. I imagine over in the Bauer household, everybody's getting up and getting ready for church. Nothing too unusual there. Mike in chat says fight time. I don't think so. I think this is Craig / Theo struggling with several different mama bear impulses and trying to figure out how to take care of everybody at once. So yeah,
she has been cut off from the supernal,
or something.
No longer exists.
Yep. And then Ralph, I believe, as mentioned, the cult kind of enjoys their time of being together and stuff like that, and Cloak is just Cloak, or actually with them Legba, and probably is starting to hammer in the yes, I look like Cloak but I am not Cloak kind of thing, right? Cool.
Yeah, and we also said that was going to be more abrupt once Sanity finished her initiation.
That's right. Okay.
That's what we said first, right? That could be different depending upon the outcome. We still don't know what's going to happen to her, right?
Right. But yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. Yep. But otherwise, yes. Most everybody heads off to church, as it is Sunday and it is the Lord's Day, and so we will, proceed in a normal, orderly fashion, save for perhaps what is over at the camp.
I want to try to find Isabel.
Pretty easy to
and
spot.
Check on her and see. Struggles from so. How are you doing?
Better. Back to normal.
Okay.
There's only a giant wolf following me now.
I think any action towards what we discussed last night might be rather hasty.
Yeah, I've thought about it some and tried to see if I could find anything. At least I want to talk through it with everyone first and make a more solid plan.
Perhaps the first thing that we draw here should be one that we intend to work with rather than remove.
Do you think we could bring through your wolf?
Not
It
currently.
seems...
Because someone made them a life thing.
I don't know who did that.
It seems
Who
most
is that?
amenable to helping us.
I don't believe I have the understanding necessary for that yet.
Okay. I also, today, since we have part of the day free, I wanted to see about visiting the cave again.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like a good day to make a trek and start trying to make it accessible.
Certainly.
Of note in church today, the priest is speaking on the story of Jesus casting the demon Legion into the pigs
All right.
and sending them off a cliff. Anyways,
Yes.
right, Craig, you good there, bud?
So just to clarify,
Mm-hmm.
Rilla is interacting, is aware of Catherine and myself,
Mm-hmm. Everything
and horses and furniture and everything except for Velocia.
She can't see her.
So definitely first instinct is that, comfort Velocia, make sure everything's okay, but not the helicopter parent sort of way, just, thumb up, you're good. Okay, you're good.
Yeah. Yeah, but at this point now, Valoja is very curious because Valoja has seen drunk people before. It's like, oh, okay.
That is definitely very curious. And gives a whole different complexion to the situation with Valoja. So we'll put a pin in that one to sort of negotiate. So I'll just make sure I keep Valoja near me while Rilla is still wandering around and trying to keep her contained.
Right. And to be clear,
camp, so to speak.
Rilla is not just like this random walking.
Yeah.
It's, walk over here, talk. She sits at a stool for a while and like when proffered food, sees it and like eats. But some of, and like when you do that, her eyes are kind of wide and surprised and like hesitant and careful as if, I don't know, if the food is floating towards her or something. Her perceptions are very different than, what we see or that you see. Valoja definitely is not, in any way bugged by this. It was an accident, wasn't, intentional and stuff like that. But she's now she's very curious. It went from this, woman is walking around and talking weird to this woman is walking around and tripping over things.
Yeah, and it's no big deal for anyone else, but it's definitely a significant event for Theo.
Right.
And that's definitely going to bear some looking into. But I don't think there's anything Theo's going to want to do about it now. Just sort of put a pin in it as something to look into more later.
Absolutely.
Definitely some breadcrumbs there to follow. So I'll keep Valoja close as we're going through the morning and kind of waiting for Gisela to show up.
Okay. So church, people come out. The afternoon and, evenings or, yours. Well, except for Isabel. She's got to, pour drinks.
It's okay. That spell had a day-long duration.
Oh, that's true. I'm good for now. When this spell ends, I'm a crash. That's true.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely need some sleep tonight.
Yeah, I guess after like church and then everything else, like would run up towards the barracks to see if we could get Cloak's help with the
mine or the cave.
The mine or the cave, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because
you're necessary for getting us there without being watched.
That, and then Isabel saw Cloak do this cool trick with the wall.
Well, there was a hole there to get through, so.
There's a hole to get through into the cave as well.
It's full of water.
So?
There are things we can do.
Yep. Now, the fact is...
Speaking of that, the cave is full of water.
There you go! Like, that's...
Yeah,
Well, Cloak has some thoughts about that, too.
So, which you guys can walk and talk on your walk out that way. Do you guys go by...
Just swing by and get Theo, yeah.
Right.
And Cloak's going to get some tools.
Okay.
Considering, he's not immediately thinking someone's going to cast a shaping spell, right?
Get a shovel?
He gets a
pick.
He gets a pick.
Pickaxe.
Yeah. Pickaxe, just a simple mining tool.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a shovel too.
All right.
Shovel would help.
On the way there, can we keep our eye open for a rabbit or something? Something small and furry and alive?
Craig!
You hungry?
What's that?
You hungry?
Not exactly. Something I've been meaning to try.
Okay. Do you voice this to Isabel?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you can probably see like a bird.
I think I'm going to need it to be able to put my hands on it. But maybe not.
Depending on your purpose, but probably.
What do you wish to do with it?
I've been thinking of extending the scouring that we've been able to do. And I wanted to see if I could scour from something else with a pattern.
I asked you to do that to me when you were injured before, and you declined.
Right. Because I felt that wouldn't be a one-for-one transaction. It would take more from you than I would get from it.
Then what will happen to this animal if you try it to it?
I expect that it would be killed.
Isabel just has a vague impression of growling behind her.
I don't know if that is a good idea. I thought that we made an agreement not to use our magic in harmful ways.
I mean, we killed them to eat.
But we don't do it with magic. I believe Madame or Senora Pilar was quite insistent on the importance of this, and it was also consistent with my own preferences.
Hunting's hunting, right?
Yeah, on the surface, I don't like it, but thinking it through, I mean, we eat them. Why not?
But we don't.
Use them in other ways.
And finding out if I can make it work or not might be useful in an emergency, for example. To know that we have this as a possible resource to draw upon. I'm not planning on sacrificing, like my mother used to sacrifice chickens every now and then for things that were really important. But I'm not planning on doing that on a regular basis. But I want to see if I can do it.
Well, I have sacrificed animals many times in the context of practicing Vodun. So I'm not unfamiliar with the concept or suggesting that it is something abhorrent to do so. I was bringing up that we agreed in the context of working our will, and it feels different to me if I were to take other members of Les Enfants through a practice and when I were to slice the throat of a chicken and pour its blood into a vessel to contain it for that rite. That does not feel like the same thing. But we don't know, so I was just voicing a perspective based on the conversation we recently had about how we're going to work together.
Isabel reaches back into her sort of pouch that she's got on the back and hands you one of her guns. Says, if you hunt it, I'm okay with it. Show dominance and then use your magic.
Okay.
We just happen to be slightly higher in the food chain now. And it's like, just like for a minute there, she dips down into like, not even like petrichor, but just like full Thyrsus. It's like, yep, if you're gonna do it, do it.
Now,
I'm not gonna catch it
an
for
out of
you.
character a out of character clarification of what petrichor Isabel has said. By hunt it, do you mean chase it down and then hit it with a bullet, and then it's okay to use magic, or because the gun is a prop for the argument, right? Like, hunt it in whatever way you will. A snare, a gun, grabbing it with your bare hands if you're able, but physically prove that you deserve to take the life of this animal. Catch it.
I mean, I have snares.
Okay.
I am curious if it will render the nourishment of the animal useless.
That's what I'm wondering too. I think it might need to be intact.
No, I mean...
if you pull the magic out, can we then still eat it? Or is it useless?
So that's two sides to that question. Can we draw mana from something that's already been rendered lifeless?
Or can we eat something that you've drawn mana from?
Exactly. All right, well, let's
Because if
set
you
up
can, then I have zero problem with this.
So how about we set up and you hand the gun to Theo, and she, like, it's obvious that she doesn't have a lot of experience holding guns.
It's like, okay, never mind, I'm taking this back.
Maybe we'll set up a snare and...
Well, then perhaps I will hunt with you while these two work on our entry to the cave.
All right.
Considering that Legba here has not brought 4 pickaxes.
Well, I'm pretty confident I can get us into the space myself. But we can certainly do it the hard way, I suppose.
Won't be hard for me.
Fair enough.
How are we dealing with the water, though?
Thank you, voice of reason.
If you can get me
says,
over top of it, we can just bypass the water entirely.
Say that the water does fill into the chamber.
It's full of the cavern. Yeah,
it's not
it
all
is
the way
filled.
up to the top because there is some exit, but yeah, it definitely does kind of rise and fall, kind of with the flow of the river.
There's enough space. Or, no, what Cloak says is, if there is enough space for us to be in the cavern at any point, there will always be enough space for us to be in the cavern.
Just standing in water.
It's also easy enough for me just to push the water aside.
Fish live there.
How would you do that?
Well, I can just create a space where the water won't be able to flow into. The fish would go out with it, and then it would be like a water wall in front of us, but the space that we want would still be accessible.
When did you learn to do this?
I've been working on manipulation of matter and objects. It's a and she'll use a supernal word for ruling. I can tell the water that it doesn't belong in this space.
Oh.
And it will be water right up until the boundary that I set for it, and then the rest would be open air.
Which, by the way, I'm going to say, in terms of decor of your Hallow, it's kind of dope.
Yeah.
You have a built-in aquarium.
It's a reverse aquarium in a way if we're standing
Yes.
inside.
That's right. That's
The
right.
fish will come by and drop some nom-noms for you.
We'll call her Hallow Bioshock.
Yep. No, Rapture.
I wish you.
Yeah, we call it Rapture.
Call her Rapture. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, that's right. What am I saying?
I wish you well in telling the river what to do.
I'm not telling the river, I'm just telling the water in it. In this one space. But we'll see. I think you mentioned that there was
I
a...
don't imagine she thinks that it is.
Yeah. Well, I'll have you there to negotiate if we need to.
I'm sure she'll love to see you again.
She got paid last time. She's not mad. Cool. Of note.
You spoke to the river.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh,
I'll
no,
let you
no.
go.
Go ahead. No, because that's
okay.
true. Like, these are the conversation bits that I'm totally here for, and I don't... Yeah.
Great. Okay.
What did you say, Ruff?
So, yeah. So Cloak asks, you spoke to the river?
Made a deal with her.
You made a deal with the river.
Yes.
She.
Yes.
Hmm.
Her spirit.
Will we be able to interact with her?
If I allow you to.
Just as before. Well, if you consider it necessary at any point, I'm quite willing to experience that again. Otherwise, I trust your judgment.
Hopefully. Because we're like kind of up on a hill, right? Away, like up from the river a bit. Hopefully up here we'll be fine.
Yeah, you guys kind of make your way down and find the...
She can't. She can't. She would have difficulty influencing us outside of her waters.
We are digging down into her waters.
Of note,
Correct.
And this is just a thing that I believe Isabel would have picked up. The waters that flow into that cavern are not hers. They're no longer. It's not part of. It's not part of the Purgatorio. At that point, it's now descended down into some underground cistern cave waters.
Sure.
Okay, she was just blocking our way in.
Mm-hmm.
Basically,
the space that the water flew through. Yep. And yes, I appreciate, as you said, hey, Ralph, that's the least insane things to happen in the past 10 hours. Oh, you talked to a river? Listen, we've had a lot of other stuff going on. You're freaking out about talking to the river? Sister Cistern. Oh my God, you both out.
That's great.
Out.
Also, from Cloak's perspective, spirits, come on. It's weird, right? It's like a plane that's far away. It might as well be here. The distance is a lie. Everything seems right into Mastigo's land.
So yes, we kind of settle in with you four arriving at the space where Gisela had marked, set out two big old sticks crossed unnaturally in the middle of the prairie grass, basically. The actual entrance is, a couple dozen feet off towards the river, and you're standing.
How far down below the surface was the hollow?
It was like 6 feet.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't very far to dig.
Okay.
Like 6 or 10, I forget what we said.
6 or 10 down under the earth, and then there would be a drop down into the water.
So I'll go about 15 feet away from where she made her mark. And then I was going to do a shaping to create some stairs leading into the earth.
I dig it. And we will save that for next week.
Sure.
Also because, hey, Chris, what is Isabel going to be doing?
So, I was kind of hoping we'd get into it. Into the space.
I can make a strength stamina roll to open it.
I was gonna have Isabel semi-accidentally fall through to the other side of the gauntlet.
Oh, cool!
So yeah, that's definitely what we will have happen next week. And Chris, you and I, we can hash out what little bit, because let's be honest, next week may only take a couple hours in character, and then you come back out and go, oh my God, guys, so many little gods. Yes, I really dig that.
And they all want sun chips.
They all want sun chips. Now I want sun chips.
Sun chips are delicious.
Harvest cheddar, man, every time.
That's a good choice.
Cultists Anonymous, sponsored by
Original's great too.
Original's pretty good.
Garden
Salt is no. Okay, well that's fine.
Garden Salt's fine.
No, this is what I love. I love finding people who have the wrong chip choice, because I can be like,
they can eat the ones in the multi-pack that you don't want.
Exactly. Thank you. By the way, if you're ever...
It's like Cool Ranch Doritos. Gross.
Wow.
Gross.
Wow.
Fired.
Give them to me, I put them right in the trash.
Fired.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Look, we are a gamer positive space. We fully support everyone's choice to
chip and ship,
abide their sacred rights of
the gamer fuel of your choice.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna yuck yums, but I gotta be honest. Sometimes I buy bags of Cool Ranch and so I can throw them in the trash.
Oh Lord,
it's
Ralph.
great.
Oh
Wow.
We're gonna have to talk about this hostile work environment. Thank you all for joining us before we get really loopy here, or continue being loopy. It's a blast to have you all with us and join us in our journey into the West. Also, Hey, Lord of the Rings fans. I think about you every time. Yes, thank you very much for joining us. It is a blast to have you. Please join us on Discord, yeetinto.space. It always amuses me. People are like, I watched 100-something episodes of The Rookery, and I finally decided to join Discord. I'm like, A, why'd you wait so long? You should have been here. And B, I understand your trepidation. We are a little bit weird. But if you made it this far into the show, we're probably your kind of weird. And yeah,
let's be honest.
we very welcome you. It is a-okay to come hang out, talk with us, yell about stuff. If we got stuff wrong, be nice, but let us know and remind us. Don't remind us about stuff we got wrong in The Rookery. It's not going to help. It's a little bit past that. But it is a very good place for you to come hang out. And talk about the show, talk about your game, talk about birds, talk about food, talk about shipping choices.
Don't do that one, please, honestly.
The right ships.
That's the thing.
Oh, yes. It came up this week. Actually, was that today? Yesterday? Yeah.
It was yesterday.
Yeah. So, some of you people. Anyways, if you want to support us monetarily, that is patreon.com/Occultists Anonymous or staylucky.club. Also, Discord is yeetinto.space. I can't remember if I said that. Also, just because it is relevant, because it just went up today, we have some new designs in the shop. We have Amendable to Witchcraft. We also have the End of the West
It's really cute.
design. Yeah, the Amendable to Witchcraft is very good. Watch social media and Discord and stuff like that, because I will be posting a cool little, hey, we're a store, little post of, hey, new designs, and there's going to be a sale. It's like $15 for t-shirts and 10% off everything or something like that. It's going to run for a couple weeks. So do check that out.
Starting tomorrow, right?
Correct. So YouTube guys right now, Twitch guys tomorrow at like 13 hours from now. 13 hours from now.
Tomorrow at time zone.
So there's that. And you don't have to get shirts. You can get mugs. You can get little badges. I think they still are selling masks, which, by the way, even after COVID and your vaccine,
Wear a
still
goddamn mask.
useful. And yes, still wear a mask. But also like all sorts of other cute stuff. I believe, as Ash mentioned, I believe they have stickers. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff. And yeah, I guess that is about it. We will see you next time, friends.
Everybody.
See you next time.